Art Around Us, written by Cheryl Ryan. Introduction. Art is all around us in many different forms. Different types of artists make different art. Some use paint, paper, glass, or clay. Others use stone, computers, or even plants. An artist can make almost anything into art. Painters. The most familiar kind of artist is a painter. Some painters paint objects or famous people. Most painters use a brush. Some painters splash, spray, or drip paint. Others paint with odd liquids, such as mud. Painters paint on every type of surface. Some paint on dishes, windows, or furniture. Many painters create murals. Murals are large paintings painted onto a wall or the side of a building. Sculptors. Some sculptors use sharp tools to carve shapes into wood, stone, ice, or wax. Others make soft sculptures. They weave fabrics, yarns, or strips of leather. Some sculptors cast shapes and statues in metal. To cast a metal sculpture, first, sculptors carve a clay model of the shape. Then they cover the clay shape with wet plaster, which dries and hardens, like the cast on a broken arm, into a mold. Then they pour hot liquid metal into the hard plaster mold. The liquid metal cools and hardens. Then sculptors remove the plaster mold from the sculpture. They can now polish their artwork. Potters. Potters make art with soft, wet clay. Their art is pottery. Potters put a lump of wet clay on a pottery wheel that spins very fast. Potters use their hands to pinch, push, and pull the lump of clay into the shape they want. The clay shape is baked in a very hot oven called a kiln. The heat bakes all the water out of the clay. When it's dry, the baked clay is called ceramic. Artists use a special paint called a glaze to give the ceramic a shiny, colorful surface. Glassblowers. Glass is gooey when it melts, like heavy syrup. Glassblowers scoop up a blob of hot glass with a long, hollow metal tube called a blowpipe. They blow air through the tube to make a glass bubble. While the glass is hot, they can rotate or swirl the bubble. They can make it as wide, long, thin, or tall as they want to. While the glass is soft, it's easy to work with and to shape. Artists might add colorful streaks and swirls or a handle or knobs. Glassblowers work very quickly, but must be very careful. When glass cools, it breaks easily. Fiber artists. Thread, yarns, and fabric pieces are used to make fiber art. Weavers loop different yarns on a machine called a loom. They weave threads to make different designs. Weavers create rugs, blankets, mats, wall hangings, and fabrics for clothing. Quilters make art from pieces of cut fabric. They sew the pieces together to make quilts. Years ago, new fabric was expensive. People saved money by using fabric scraps to make their bed covers. They made beautiful designs by stitching together the pieces in creative ways. Unusual art. Some artists make found object art out of junk, car parts, old toys, wire, and other scrap materials. Other artists take an everyday object, like a water fountain, and put it in a museum display. These artists want us to look more closely at the designs of the things we see every day. Many artists like to use natural objects to make art. Some create huge shapes on beaches using rocks and sand. Others collect beautifully shaped driftwood to build sculptures. Some artists use branches, rocks, and plants to make imaginative shapes in a garden or park. Installations are entire rooms or buildings that have been made into works of art. The artist fills the room with objects, colors, shapes, sounds, and lights to create a special feeling. Installation artists want you to walk around inside. They want you to look at and touch parts of their room-sized work of art. Where art is found. The oldest art was painted in caves or scratched into rocks. These very simple images tell stories about what life was like long ago. Scientists digging in ancient ruins find pottery, wall murals, carvings, and tile mosaic floors, and other works by early artists. Art is everywhere. Explore your town. Find different types of art. Visit museums, galleries, and art fairs where artists show their work. Look for art. It's all around you. Find outdoor sculptures in a park and murals you can see while on a walk or a bike ride. You can make your own art, too. Use colored chalks to draw on sidewalks. Use clay to sculpt shapes. Make a snow sculpture or a sandcastle. Glue pieces of shells, stones, and wood to a frame for a favorite photograph. Art doesn't have to be serious or hard to do. Art can tell a story, or it can help you say how you feel. Or it can just be interesting, funny, or beautiful. Art makes our lives more fun. Look, and you will find art all around you. It's everywhere.